Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Thor, Black Widow, She-Hulk, Ant-Man. I didn't know if you realize, but the visual effects of new movies are getting worse. It got to the point that people stopped watching the new Marvel movies because of the bad CGI. Remember the old times, the visual effects of this? See, from Spider-Man 2 was far better than this one, in Black Panther. There's 14 years between these films. When you watch the first, you can feel the damage and the danger of the situation. And look at this face. But in Black Panther's final fight, see the characters looking like game characters. Even the movement of the camera doesn't feel realistic. If you watch Black Panther, try to remember what you felt in the scene. Let me guess, you felt something was wrong, but you couldn't tell what was it. Because your brain can understand the difference between real and fake movie, and that feels fake. So what's going on here? How can visual effects gets worse while our technology improves? Each year? If you think yeah, it shows the low budget of Marvel for its new films. But it's not just Marvel. The CGI in the Lord of the Rings trilogy was more realistic than Hobbit movies. Again, they are surrounded 10 years behind them. Which suit of Iron Man is better, this or this? As you know, this scene is from Airman 1, which was released in 2008, and that one is from Avengers Infinity War 2018. Both were 100% visual effects. But the first one looks so much more realistic. So no, you might think that all the movie studios started giving lower budgets for the visual effects. But in the same movie, they've made that an incredibly detailed character with full CGI. But he probably didn't know the New York seats were mostly CGI here. But how can a movie studio make these incredible shots and these bad VFX in the same room? Well, the reason they don't even make the visual effects. The movie studios shoot the scene and then goes to a third-party VFX studio to make the CGI. But the problem is they work with not just one, but a bunch of VFX students to get the shots individual. Each studio usually makes 1 or 2 scenes for a movie. And because each company has different styling quality, we can see both realistic and animation like CGI in the same movie. I see you found a solution there, didn't you? Why don't they give all the VFX work to the highest quality company? Well, because such a company doesn't exist. Really, there's no company out there which can make all the CGI scenes of the movie by itself. If you really want one company to do that, it would take years to finish the movie. Companies like Marvel wants to get the final scenes in months, even weeks. So the movie students must work with highest quality VFX competence. Marvel figured out the same thing and worked with the best VFX studios. But there's another global Marvel used to release one movie each year. They were focused on making everything as good as they possibly can. And we didn't have time. They weren't doing a good job with CG as well. But now, the gap between each release is around 2 or 3 months, probably. Usually show 6 movies to a test audience to get the reaction. And sometimes they change some seats and Charlie based on those tests. So if they want to add something, they must do it as quickly as possible to reach the release date. Let's take the Black Panther scene. Marvel gave just 7 weeks for the effects to finish the 6. There's nothing to do with studio. They made so many great scenes before. But 7 weeks is just not enough for such a scene. The third problem is, making a scene with CGI is actually cheaper than actually shooting it on set. In the past, movie studios were taking actual shots with no CGI, then they started to use a mix of CGI and real shots. But now, we're at the point where some scenes are 100% visual effects. For example, when shooting this scene in the Endgame, they didn't design the sets yet. So the characters were the original suits and the VFX themes added the final suits with CGI. In old Spider-Man movies, in most of the seats, their customers didn't have CGI, and somehow in Spider-Man, he still wears a suit, but they covered it with CGI. And that makes it less realistic because it's there. Now, they did the same with the Black Panther. He got a great customer and said, but they added CGI on top of that to make it more shiny. So visual effects are not getting worse. It looks like it is because we only notice it when it's bad. But almost every single scene has CGI in it, or we see the bad CGI scenes because the studios are pushing them out. They're more concerned with meeting that release date than they are with making sure the effects are perfect. In simple terms, if they solve these problems, we will see better visual effects. If they don't, we'll do that. That was it for this video. If you liked it, you should watch this one too. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.